So I've come and met with Jonas Wigger from Moya in Hamburg. And Jonas, you've just been speaking on a panel here at Intertraffic about the lessons learnt from shuttles. What are the lessons learnt?
So from our manual service right now, the lessons we learned include the experience gained from transporting 9 million passengers since 2019, since we set up our service in Hamburg, but it also meant that we learned how to automate our fleet management using machine learning algorithms to effectively steer supply and demand. But it also meant that we learned about user preferences and learned about creating an attractive on-demand service for our users. And something we see is that, for example, our median age of users is around 45, which is much older in comparison to other new mobility options. And also looking at the share of genders, we have 49% women using our service, so which is also different in comparison to other mobility options. So we're very happy with that, and we want to take these experiences with our manual service and translate them into an autonomous ride-hailing service that will be bookable from 2026 on.
I think this is really interesting, the human aspect, the human behaviour of it, because at events like Intertraffic, and I mentioned the ITS World Congress where you showed it off down the road in Hamburg, we're very good at telling each other how clever we are and all agreeing on concepts and forgetting the end user and bringing the end user with us. So it seems like you've really worked hard on getting them to understand the concepts. I mean, for example, I just mentioned the virtual stop. So rather than a traditional taxi would draw up right outside your hotel or your home or where your office, wherever you need to be picked up, and drop you off exactly where you want to be dropped off. Here, it was slightly different, which I guess makes it easier to automate in the future. Did customers understand that? Did they embrace it? Did they get used to it? Or was there a bit of a pushback of, well, why can't you come to where I am?
Well, it is a widely accepted concept now. Like we've been operating for the last 5 years, and people understand why we chose the concept of virtual stops. It's also a legal requirement because we're not a taxi service per se. So this is one of the features. But what we were also trying to tell people or make people understand is that we were trying to replicate the experience of a private car in a shared mobility service. So you've driven our vehicles, you saw it yourself. You saw that we have specially designed seats for our passengers to replicate this feeling of privacy. We have wooden floors, we have the vehicle screens, we have Wi-Fi, we have charging options for our passengers to charge their phones and laptops and everything. So I think it's very important to come up with solutions that really replicate the flexibility and the comfort of private cars for actually to be able to take individual cars off the road.
And I'm fascinated. So you said that we're close to a launch of the driverless service. How's that going to work? Is it across the whole of the city, or will it be only on certain routes and a kind of slimmed down coverage to what we get from the human-driven version?
We will start with an operating area in the city center, so our autonomous vehicles can learn in very difficult and complex traffic situations. We will start in the area around Winterhude in the city center, but we will gradually expand our service to the whole city of Hamburg until 2030. So our aim is to cover the whole 700 square kilometers of the city of Hamburg until 2030 with a fleet of up to 10,000 autonomous vehicles.
And I take it that all those human-driven journeys, including the ones that I took when I was in the city, they've all been teaching the vehicle to be driverless.
Exactly. We will take these experiences and translate them into a into our autonomous service. But I think for the first couple of years, we will still operate with mixed fleets because we will still need human drivers for our fully accessible vehicles. So wheelchair users can be transported, and we will still need driving staff for that. And actually, something we always underline is that we want to provide a mobility solution that's as accessible as possible, because right now, for example, severely disabled people in Hamburg are transported free of charge with our service. So that's a huge step for them, offering them a new kind of mobility besides public transport.
And finally, when are we going to see it in other cities other than Hamburg?
From 2026 on, we will have developed a autonomous ride-pooling solution that we plan to scale. So in the years after 2026, we will see other cities. Today, actually, there was news from Moya. We signed a memorandum of understanding for a first project in Berlin, so as another city, but other European cities will follow very soon, and we will follow with our announcements on that.